So recently I had the pleasure of visiting this retro video game store in my area. The name of this one is called Pixelated Treasures, and I gotta tell you, man, they had some of the coolest things in this store that I have not seen in quite some time. We're gonna start off with this awesome X-Men arcade game. If you guys are familiar with this one, I'm sure you played it back in the day. A very popular game. Even the arcade 1-up series, they tried to recreate this classic, but unfortunately they failed on that one. Regardless, it is cool to see the original arcade in this store. They even had this incredible Spider-Man pinball machine that I have never seen in person before. The owner was very nice. He actually turned it on for me and my kid so we can play it. Just awesome to see in a vintage video game store. What makes this place great is not only did they have vintage video games, but they also had some incredible vintage toys I had not seen in quite some time. If you check out this case right here, some incredible things you're not going to see everywhere, including 1980s G.I. Joe figures with the card backs. I thought they were mint-dyed card when I first saw the case. They're not, they're loose, but incredible to see these amazing card backs. And of course, anybody who watches my channel knows I'm a huge Masters of the Universe fan, and they have some incredible figures. Again, I thought they were mint-on card at first. They're not, they're loose, but they come with the card back, which you don't see that often. Pixelated Treasures definitely has a great selection of vintage toys, from Star Wars to Marvel superheroes to Marvel Legends. They even had some pretty cool stuff I had never seen before. And they had some great TMNT stuff, great selection of toys, some early lunch boxes as well, some Power Rangers stuff. I mean, Dick Tracy. How many times you walk into a toy store and see some vintage Dick Tracy memorabilia? How about these crazy lunch boxes? There were a few that were more modern, but they had some incredible vintage ones, like this E.T. lunchbox that I actually had when I was a kid. It was awesome to see that right there. Most of them are in U shape, but again, just to see these in a store, really, really fun time. What makes this place so cool is all the great stuff they had. So they didn't have just video games. Like I said before, they have incredible arcade game. They had a pinball machine, the vintage toys. But check out this wall of vintage games. Not only do we have PS3 games, PS4 games, Xbox 360, their vast selection of everything you could want video games was quite remarkable. They even had Sega Dreamcast games, believe it or not. SNES, Sega Genesis, PS4, PS5, they have everything. And check out this Nintendo Switch setup they have, so anyone who comes into the store can actually play a few games that they have loaded on this thing. Just an awesome setup. Now, me being the Nintendo fanatic that I am, of course, I have to check out the NES games, the Super Nintendo games as well. As I said before, Sega Genesis, you could see the Sega Dreamcast games there. They even had some Master System games, believe it or not. Not a ton, but anybody who plays those old games, this place has everything for a video game enthusiast. Now let's get to the good stuff. Check out all this retro goodness from the NES sports set. They have 2 power sets, believe it or not, a Super Nintendo, a control deck, and again, more of the popular, more expensive games are behind the wall, but all this great goodness, unbelievable to see. Whether you collect and play Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, the original Game Boy, they had cartridges in box as well as loose, just unbelievable. I mean, look at the selection, guys. Check out these handhelds from the 1980s and the 1990s. And of course, you know, I had to check out these complete in-box NES games. Some of my favorite there, like Paperboy, Super Mario's 2 and 3. And how about the original Game Boys? You don't see them too often in box, and they had a ton of them here in this store, like 5 or 6, the original release as well as later editions. Here are some more modern games for the PS3, PS4. Sega CD, you don't see those too often. And of course, some more loose cartridges for the NES as well as SNES. And it doesn't end there. More consoles behind the wall. A wall of Nintendo 64s, as well as some GameCubes and some more games that are highly sought after. If you're still looking for PS2s, Xbox 360s, they got you covered as well. What makes a good shop is not only do they focus on one or two areas, but they have a vast majority of things for all types of collectors, including sports memorabilia, Pokemon, they even have sports cards for you card collectors out there. Most of them already graded, a few that are raw, of course, but just a lot of stuff that you don't always see under one roof. And for us comics guys, they do have a small selection of comics, as well as Nintendo powers, game strategy books, and more. Check this out. Some 1990 baseball cards. How about those Fleer cards? But of course with a Billy Ripken. I've always wanted a Billy Ripken fuckface card, and I never had one growing up as a kid. They have NFL cards, more baseball cards, anything you think of. I haven't seen some of the stuff in quite a while. It's great to see everything under one roof. As I said before, you don't see it that often. A great Donruss card display. More basketball cards, more baseball cards, Nolan Ryan cards. Don't get me wrong, I know the early 1990s for baseball cards is kind of when the whole boom went, and then of course it crashed right after that, but it's great to see some of these packs available for sale in a vintage game store. So I know you guys remember this. How about starting lineup figures? I was so into these things growing up as a kid. I cannot tell you. Of course, I'm a giant New York Knicks fan, so I had a few of these growing up. They also had football ones as well that I also collected as a kid, but I left this store with something great, and I'll show it to you at the end of this video. And of course, I'm going to leave you with some shots of what I think were some special items in this store that you don't get to see every day. Of course, we're going to start with this Nintendo control deck from 1986. Then we had this Game Genie, which I'm sure everybody remembers using, trying to beat some of the more harder games. And how about these NES Advantage and NES Max controllers? I remember everyone out there trying to get an advantage on their friend, trying to get these better joysticks and better game controllers. We thought back then it was going to give us an advantage playing these games. Unfortunately, it did not. Some more loose consoles like the SNES, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 2. And how about this? Two Michael Jordan starting lineup figures, one in the white uniform and one in the red uniform. And you guys tell me the last time you saw Roger Rabbit cards, Dick Tracy cards, Batman Returns, the original Batman movie, TMNT #2, and Voltron tattoos. Man, this sure brings back some amazing memories. So I got to tell you, this place was really cool. A lot of great stuff under one roof, like I said before, but I almost walked away with a bunch of stuff from this store, and I had to stop myself because I'm trying to save money right now, and I almost picked up that original NES console from 1986. I also almost picked up a Game Boy from its first release. He had the original release, and he also had a few re-releases after that. Just amazing. Not a lot of things that you get to see all the time, and they had them boxed and complete, which is wild. And they had multiple of them, which is also wild to see. The one thing that I did walk away in that store was this. I could not leave this on the shelf, and they had a couple of them there. This is a starting lineup Patrick Ewing figure. He's my favorite player growing up as a Knicks fan, and I've been a rabid Knicks fan my whole life. So to see this on the shelf at a store was wild to see, and that's a lot of them. I showed you guys the Michael Jordan. They had some Shaq. They had some early players that also I grew up watching as well. So from football to basketball, they had some hockey stuff. Just awesome to see. So if you're in New Jersey, make sure you check out Pixelated Treasures in Ridgefield, New Jersey. Just an awesome store.